Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Joel. I'm now a graduate nurse from Imperial Valley College, and for today's video, it's going to be 7 things I wish I knew before nursing school. Now, first off, if you're planning on nursing school, if it's one of your choices, or you're in nursing school, let me just say that it is doable. You are ready for it. Don't be shy, even though it's kind of like inevitable. I never really knew how to say that word. The thing that Thanos says. Yeah, you're always gonna be scared and everything. You know, it's not an easy choice to do, but we all felt those emotions that you feel and everything. You know, I felt them. Everybody has felt them that has been through nursing school. So don't ever think like you're alone with those feelings and those emotions. You can definitely do it, and the first step is trying. All right, so at least if you try, then you're gonna be doing more than what other people have done, which is pretty much nothing. So with at least you trying, you at least will know if you're up for it or not, but you will never know unless you try. So the first thing that I wish I knew before nursing school was reading. Now, I wasn't a big reader in high school or in college. I would always try to like look up summaries or things like that when it came to like reading books or reading anything at all. And in nursing school, they're really, well, at least in first semester, you know, it was like a lot of reading, a lot of chapters in the exams, and everything was fast paced. So I kind of like knew how it was gonna be, since I have friends that were already in nursing school before me going into nursing school. So I started with reading Harry Potter. You know, I bought a Kindle, and then I read 15 minutes before going to sleep, and then 15 minutes after waking up. So that was like the first thing I had right next to me in the morning and before going to bed, and I will put a timer on my phone and then just go from there. And doing it every single day, probably like 4 or 5 days a week out of the 7. It definitely helped. It definitely helped in me like liking reading, and me using my imagination, and me, you know, doing all these connections that you have while you're reading. So once I got into nursing school, reading was not really a hassle. I was actually reading faster than what I did before, so that was an advantage for me. But then I started like moving away from textbooks as being my primary source, which I already did a video on that, which you can see in my channel. But yeah, so really try and have reading as a thing that you do at least 4 or 5 days a week. Reading 5 minutes a day, or even 3 minutes a day, you know, just getting to the habit of reading and incrementing the time after every week or something, like for a minute or something, so you really don't feel it as much. So starting with 3 minutes, and then go to 4 minutes, and then go to 5 minutes, you know, stuff like that. The whole point is like you need to start getting your mind into reading, because if you're not a reader and you just go into nursing school, you're definitely gonna have a really hard time. I definitely have seen it a lot, and you get used to it right after a while, but you have like you're living through hell trying to get your mind used to it forcefully, which then makes your learning process harder, since you know you're forcing yourself to do something which then your brain doesn't like, and then you really are not going to do it with all your heart, or with you wanting to do it, is because you have to do it, and then having your mind into, probably going to do a video on that, between like I get to study versus I need to study. You know, that is a big difference when it comes to reading and the way you retain information. So yeah, read. The second thing is the grading scale. So in nursing school, you have different scales. So it's not like the custom scale that you're used to in high school or in college. In nursing school, 93 to 100 is an A, and then 86 to 92 is a B, and then 78 to 85 it's a C, and anything below it, 78, it's failed. So that is a different grading scale. So if you got like a 90 in your exam, you didn't get an A, you got a B, and if you got a 78, that's a really good score because you at least passed. But that's kind of like a C minus pretty much. So yeah, that's kind of like how nursing school is. And with the grading scale, with the grading, I want to go into try-harding. So if you're a student that you're always used to getting A's, and you're always like the perfect student and everything like that, then you're probably gonna have a harder time in nursing school, because you're probably not gonna be able to keep up. And if you're able to keep up, it's not gonna be for a long while. So definitely try and like lower your expectations a little bit and focus more on learning rather than passing an exam. The more you feel that you learned, the more concepts you feel you got, it's definitely gonna mean more in the skills rotation that you're going to do in the hospital and everything like that, in your critical thinking, than you passing an exam or not. Because a student may have gotten an 88 on an exam and you might have gotten a 78, but you definitely learn way more and you can apply it versus the other student that got like a higher score than you, but maybe that person already forgot everything by the following week and they cannot really make the connections in the clinical setting. So who are you going to choose? The person who is like really smart on a test, or the one who is able to apply the knowledge that they learned? More likely the second person. So worry more about learning and understanding the concepts rather than just passing an exam. You'll see that it's going to be a big difference. The third thing is select all the apply. The concept of select all the apply, at least in my college, in Imperial Valley College, is like it's all or none. So the option, you have a scenario and then you have like A through D or A through E or A through F, and you have to select out of those which ones are the right ones. And it might seem scary when you see them at first, but I go at it in a true and false concept. So just reading the statement and see if it's true or false. And maybe the statement can be true, but it doesn't apply to that patient. So then what do you do? So then I would use the critical thinking that you would kind of like build a nursing school. And then I will do like a $5 bet, which would mean like I would bet $5 in my mind whether that option is correct. So if I really feel I can bet those $5, then I would choose it. And if I can't, or I'm not sure, then I will leave it blank because I'm not really sure. And I'll really try and like figure out in the scenario if I can get like any more context or maybe something that I'm missing in order to get those other points. But yeah, my school is kind of like, if the select all the apply, there's 5 choices and out of those 5 it's 2 and you pick 3, all of it's wrong. You don't get even partial credit. And then NCLEX is going to be more oriented into select all the apply rather than multiple choice. So you really have to understand concepts in order for you to get through those. So yeah, that's select all the apply. The fourth one is getting an agenda. So pretty much organizing yourself. So knowing ahead would have been nice to like, I already had an agenda and I already have prioritized my days before nursing school. So for me, really wasn't that hard to organize my day. But if I was like all over the place, definitely nursing school would have definitely been like a nightmare, because it's like I have to do so many things and I don't even know from where to start, and everything's everywhere and everything's scattered. One, you're probably not going to get through nursing school. That's one, because it's too many things happening at once, and if you cannot organize yourself or have like a schedule, then no, like the castle is going to break eventually. You know, it's like you really have to focus on getting an agenda, and then from getting an agenda you need to, it could be your iPad, it could be like a physical agenda. Mine, I think, things over there in my bag. But get used to it. Before nursing school, write your day, what you want to do, anything you want to read, anything you want to check. You know, write an agenda and then check it off or cross it out. But get used to that concept of like organizing your day, because in nursing school you're definitely going to have to, you know, organize. And the fifth one, skills checkups. Now in checkups, you pretty much will show a skill, whether it's a Foley catheter, an NG tube, wound care, you name it. Even vital signs is a skill at the beginning. So yeah, you know, just pretty much knowing the concept that you're going to be tested on by an instructor and you're going to be performing the skill, and they might ask you questions during the skill or after the skill to make sure like you get the theory and the application correct. And if you don't pass it, then you're remediated, so it means you have to redo it. And at least in my college, there's like 3 remediations that you can have per semester, and if you get past those 3, then you're out. So technically in second, third, and fourth semester we didn't really have like too many checkoffs, probably like 1 or 2, but it's more in first semester, because in first semester you probably have like 12 or 14, you know, there's a lot of them. So if you miss more than 3 or more, like you're done pretty much. So that's really where it hits. So yeah, just like kind of like get used to that mind that you're going to be tested on, not only through a test, through a Scantron, but also through your hands, through your application. So definitely like have a heads up on that, and at least have that in your mind, because then when you're in nursing school and then it just hits you, you're like, oh my god, like I did not even know like this was a thing. So, and it makes sense, right? Like, you know, if you need to learn how to put a Foley, then it makes sense that you're gonna have an exam to see if you're doing it correctly. But then you do have time to do it, whether it's class or after school. You can make appointments in your lab, nursing lab thing that you have to practice, or you can do it at home, watch videos on YouTube, or record each other when you're doing it, in order for you to like use that as your guide when you're in your house, and you can just like re-watch it and double speed it because there's some steps that you already have memorized, so you can just skip it. So instead of skipping the video, just double speed it, and then you can see like all the actions. At least that's what I did, and it really worked for me. The sixth one, the speed of nursing school. So it goes fast paced, yes, really fast paced. Fundamentals in pharmacology, at least in my college, is like, damn, it was a little too much. But knowing like it's fast paced and everything, and some people do understand that superficially to the extent like, oh yeah, nursing school is really hard and like my life is gonna change and blah blah. But I don't feel people know what they're talking about, because once you're there and it really hits you, then you're like, oh my god, it's because like I knew it was gonna be hard, but I never thought it was gonna be this hard. So like, it is, really think about what you're saying. It's like, yes, it's very fast paced. Yes, you're probably gonna have to sacrifice a little thing here and there because you need to keep up. So start having that mentality, like I need to really organize myself, and things are definitely gonna change in my life. You have kids, or you're watching over your parents, grandparents, or brother or something, definitely have that into consideration, and definitely have like plans to see how you can rearrange that, because it will definitely like take a toll. And at least for me, like I don't like surprises, so I really have to have like the majority of things controlled, or at least me knowledgeable of like the things that were occurring. So definitely, if you're working part-time or full-time, I definitely don't see it like as a thing in nursing school. I do see part-time though, whether it's CNAs, I was working as a tutor in my college. Part-time, you can definitely do it. It definitely depends what is it, and then how many days a week. There's a lot of concepts, but you can work, and just try it. Try working and being in nursing school, and if it doesn't work out, then reduce your hours, and if it doesn't work out, then just quit. Because if I can tell you, yeah, you can work, but then you can't work, because maybe I could work as a tutor because sometimes I didn't get any students, so I was able to study, so I was getting paid to study. But if you were doing a CNA thing and you're on your feet 12 hours a day, twice a week, then maybe for you it might not work. So it definitely depends on the job. It definitely depends on what you do. It definitely depends on how are your days, your job description. But in the majority, at least from the people who were in my class, the majority of them work part-time or were parents, so it is definitely doable. But full-time, I didn't know of anybody who worked for full-time. But yeah, and the last one, normalizing self-doubt. So normalizing like any negative thoughts and everything like that, it will happen. It will happen, and you're gonna feel low-key ashamed and low-key incompetent, because you're like, oh, why am I thinking this, and like maybe it's not for me. But everybody feels like that. Just know that everybody feels incompetent, everybody feels with doubt, and if there's anybody in your class that feels like they're the top dog, just ask them questions. Ask them theory questions, and you're gonna see that they don't know everything, and that they're not as big shot as they think they are. Because you might have gotten an 88 on an exam, but if I give you a similar scenario through words, you might not respond to me, because you just memorize like that specific concept, but then that concept can be split up into different things. So if it was like an exam of cardio and a person got a 90, I'm like, oh, okay, so you're good in cardio. So if I ask you questions of cardio, well, based on the concept that you learned or you were supposed to learn, and you cannot answer it to me, then that means that you didn't really know. So yeah, so everybody will have self-doubt, and if there's like a show-off in there or something, you can just shut them up with like asking them questions, and then they're probably not gonna like you, but you're gonna get your point across, and then everybody's gonna get the point that it's like, we all have self-doubt. We know how to hide it, to have like poker faces. We're just pretty serious, and not showing a lot of emotions, but inside like we're screaming and crying and stuff. But you don't want to show it to your patients, or you don't want to show it to your instructors, because then that's what they hate. They don't want to see doubt. They don't want to see like you being insecure, even though it doesn't make sense. But I get it. So really try and have a poker face, and everybody will have a poker face around you. So don't think like you're the only one who feels incompetent or having self-doubt. Everybody has it, but just people really know how to hide it. And so you really have to learn how to hide it. And even right now we have like the COVID mask and everything, like they cannot really see your expressions, but they can see your eyebrows. So definitely be aware of it, like if you make any faces or something. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are like the 7 things I wish I knew before going to nursing school. It would definitely gotta have given me like a heads up. If I definitely would have a brother or something, or a dear friend that I knew was gonna go into nursing school, I would definitely tell them these things, for them to be aware and not just hit them like a brick, just like when I went in, I was like, holy damn, like this is like, this is very weird and very different. So yeah, if you guys haven't followed me on Instagram, it's gonna be down below, or I'm probably gonna put like a picture here or something so you can see my profile. You can definitely message me in Instagram, be like, oh hi, I'm gonna go into nursing school, can you help me on this? I'm probably just gonna send audio recordings because I don't really like typing, because I do talk a lot. So I'm gonna send audio recordings, so if you feel like more help, then you can definitely message me and we can go from there. But yeah, if you guys stood here until the end of this video, thank you so much guys for watching, and I'll see you guys into the next video. Bye bye.